Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 14 of the $20 or Less podcast. We're recording live on May 23rd, 2015, and I'm your host, JD, aka Gaddock Teeg. With me today, as always, is my co-host, Cosmic Engine. How you doing today, Cosmic?
I'm sick.
Yeah, it sounds like you're having a rough time over there.
Yeah, I can't. I've had this for like 2 weeks now. It's
Yeah.
since I flew back to England. Like I picked it up. I think I
air-
must have picked
air-
it up on the plane because the day after I was ill, and I have not gotten better.
Airplanes are like test tubes for just all sorts of germs and recycled air. Like, that just seems like a recipe for getting everyone sick.
You know what the worst thing about airplanes is? Like I got right to the back this time, like because I got a really bad seat. And the worst thing is that they always board like first class and upper class first. So you have to do like the walk of shame past the rich people.
Yep.
And it's like you always look. They kind of try to look away. Don't look at the peasants. And I look straight at them. I look at them and go, "Are you happy with your seat? Are you happy?
Yeah.
Are you happy with all that leg room you've got?"
I'm a lucky one because my girlfriend, she traveled a lot for work, so she has status on a lot of airlines, and we get upgraded seats. We've been in first class a couple times, so every time I fly, I'm like, this is great.
Someone said in chat that I have the 28 days later virus. I hope so, and I'll get back on that plane and I'll infect all those upper class people first because they'll be the first ones there.
Isn't that how it happened in the movie? You got off an airplane and all of a sudden everyone was trying to kill people?
Yeah. Do you know what? It makes me happy that the upper class people sit at the front because it means if the plane goes down, right, they get hit first. They go first. I might survive right at the back. I might be tail end.
Yeah, you could hope that. Probably not. You probably just have a little bit longer to ponder your slow, agonizing death in a burning wreck. But, you can think whatever you
Look
want.
for the positives. Glass is half full.
You don't strike me as a glass half full guy. So, what have you been playing this week in the video game world?
I have been playing The Witcher 3 all week, non-stop.
You and pretty much everyone else I talk to.
I haven't got much sleep because one, I've been sick, so I've been like coughing my lungs up, so that stops me from sleeping. So in place of actual sleep, I've just been playing The Witcher, and I've been doing like 9-10 hour game sessions at a time, just like going. Spent like the first 30 hours of that game just doing side quests alone. And now I'm like 45, 50 hours in,
Jesus.
and I've only just started the main storyline. And there's still like tons more side quests that I'm just too underleveled for.
Yeah, that sounds pretty great.
One of the best games I've ever played.
Really?
Ever.
Wow.
Easily.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I was very worried, and I'm going to say this in my review. I'm writing up my review. Been writing up that tonight. I'm going to say this in my review. Come out next week. That I was a big fan of the Witcher franchise. I always have been, even before the video games. I read the books. And they were always like really great fantasy books. And it was one of those games that I was very worried when they first announced that they were going to go for an open world game rather than, because I didn't particularly like for example the second game used a hub system, like a hub level design. And I don't like that. I like a bit more freedom. But I was very concerned when they said we're going to translate this into an open world game, because open world games are hit and miss.
Yeah, definitely.
Because lots of games do open world, but lots of times there's like they've got all this space and they never do anything with it, right? There's nothing to do. Like, for example, Watch Dogs, they have this big open world, but all you ever spend your time doing is go from point A to point B, right? You don't explore, you don't get rewarded for exploring. Whereas, and I was worried that such a narratively driven, atmospheric game would lose that when it came to putting it into an open world, but it hasn't. And that is fantastic. And you can go off and explore, and you actually get rewarded for exploring. Like, that's what I like. Like, I go and loot something in this, like you know, at the very edge of a map. I go find a cave, right? And I loot it. And then I find, like, a bit of paper that's got a letter, and that'll give me a quest. I wouldn't have found that quest if I hadn't explored.
Right.
And it's stuff like that I really like. And it's it's completely immersive. It's great. I love it.
No, I'm not a Witcher franchise fan. I've tried playing the first one. I've tried playing the second one. They just don't grab me. Something about the actual gameplay, the combat system just doesn't.
Oh, but that's different though. It's
me.
completely different from the first. You can't base what the third one is on. Like, it's completely different from the second in a lot of aspects.
Okay.
They've changed. I mean, it's transformed throughout its installments each time. Like, each time, you know, like the second one was a huge leap from the first one in terms of combat, in the way they did things. And this one has just been it plays completely different.
So do you think someone could jump right into the third one, or are they going to miss something for not
Yeah, they
having
could.
played
Yeah, I mean,
one
it's
and two?
designed in a way that new players coming into it would be absolutely fine, right? And there's plenty of lore to catch up on, which you can catch up on in the game in terms of like reading the extra lore content and stuff like that. So it would be enjoyable for new people, definitely because they've designed it to be that way. However, I think to get the most enjoyment, you would probably at least have to play the second.
Okay.
Because the third takes place roughly around maybe like 6 to 12 months after the second, and there was a lot of events, big events in the second and it's about like, you come across people throughout the game, right, who have been in the previous installments, and it's more enjoyable if you know who they are. If you don't, it's fine, it still works, but if you know who they are, then it's a much more enjoyable experience. But I would say that about any game that's a franchise and has got lots of lore. Yeah. It's more enjoyable if you know what's going on, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, that's one of the big problems I've had with like the annualized sequels of games is that I feel like I'm a completionist at heart, and I feel like if I'm not going to play the first game, then why should I play the second game?
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm going to miss something.
Well, the great thing that The Witcher's always done is that basically all the stories are always told by a bard, who is one of Geralt's friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they have this really good in-depth glossary of characters and everything like so. Every single time something happens, the glossary gets updated. So it's a really good way to learn. Like if you come across a character, the glossary will like come up with that character, and then you can read about what's gone on in the past. And it's not like walls and walls of text. It's just a little bit of text, and then you understand who they are.
Okay. And then how does the questing system work? Is it like you see just a bunch of quest text, or is it all dialogue?
It's all dialogue, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
the great thing about it is that they've done it so everything's voiced. Side quests are meaningful as well. It's not like side quests are just boring fetch quests. They've gone back to the traditional roots of the IP, so it's like you have Witcher contracts, which is, you hunt monsters, and then you've got like, you have to invest, like, so say a griffin attacks a caravan on the main road, right? You have to go to the incident site, find what the monster was, so who it attacked, there's blood trails, feathers, claw marks, whatever, and then you summarize about what the monster is, and then you'll like say if there's paw prints or smells or something like that, you use your Witcher senses to follow the trail back to the monster's hideout, and then it's not a case of just going in with your silver sword and kicking butt. It's all about preparation. So there's like weapon oils that specialize in damaging werewolves and stuff like that. It's about taking Witcher potions to give you more vitality, like temporarily boosted strength and stuff like that. It's all about preparing for your fights rather than just going in and just expecting it to be easy, because you will just die. And then there's there's the Witcher contracts, which is side quests, which are all fully voiced and have got their own little stories and stuff like that. Then you've got normal side quests, which again, all fully voiced and they've got their own stories. And then you've got the main quest, which again, there's not just one main quest. There's like a main overall story arc with like several main quests in. So it's about piecing bits of the story together to come up with the full thing and then advance. And it's incredibly done.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Everyone I've spoken to or seen talk about it just raves about the game, and it seems like it's 200 hours like they claimed. So
yeah.
value wise,
there's a lot in there.
Can't get much better than that.
And again, they've just released free DLC, because that's what CJ Projekt Red do. They gave some free DLC.
Great developer.
There's going to be 16 bits of free DLC, and then on top of that, there's going to be paid expansions, which is going to be like 30 hours long each.
Hey, that's about as good as you can get.
That's a game right
there. These days, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's like a classic PC game right there.
I'm telling you,
200 hours and free DLC.
It's one of those things that CD Projekt Red are so good at what they do, and they've really pushed the boundaries, and they've created. It's not without its problems, and it's still got bugs and stuff, but it's one of the most well optimized PC games off the bat that I've played in a long time, especially for an open world game.
Yeah.
And even on my dated 660 now, it looks phenomenal. And I can't even imagine what it looks like on a Titan, but that game looks phenomenal.
Yeah, that's sounds great. I'm glad to hear that game did well, because they're a great developer, and I'm glad that game worked out. I've been playing something on probably the complete opposite spectrum. I've been playing a little bit of Stretchmo on my 3DS.
I don't even know what that is.
This is Nintendo's continuing foray into the free-to-play games market. It's a puzzle game, also similar to Block Boy. It works in blocks, but this you're pushing and pulling different blocks in order to make stairs or...
You're just such a Nintendo fanboy, aren't you, really?
At heart, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I'll be straight out and honest with everyone here. I'm a Nintendo fanboy at heart. I love Nintendo. They've done some crazy shit in the past, so I love them. But they've broken my heart a couple times. But this is Stretch Ball game. It's pretty fun. It's a 3DS free-to-play game. You get 10 levels free, so it's really more of a free demo than a free-to-play game. But then the whole game, if you buy everything, and it's like 300 levels, I think, total, if you buy everything, it's $9.99. It's a cute little puzzle game. Some of the puzzles are pretty tough. I'll say that it took me 5-10 minutes to complete some of these puzzles. So it's a pretty fun game if you're into just simple fun. So if you got a kid, you want to give them a level pack or something, you can buy... The way it works is you can buy the entire game for $9.99, or you can buy each little level pack for $2.50 or $2.99. So it works out you save a couple bucks if you buy the whole thing together. But I like that game a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. So check it out if you're a fan of Nintendo puzzle games. And then on top of that, I've been playing some more of Earthbound. Again, I talked about this last week. Favorite game ever. Still enjoying it. Still holds up. And Desert Golf, which I think I talked about in one of the first episodes of this podcast. It's just a great, simple game on the iPhone, iOS. Just kills time. I think it's 99 cents. It's an endless golfing game. You just continue to golf and you hit a hole, and then you start the next hole from that hole, and it just keeps scrolling the screen left. And once in a while you see a cactus, and there's maybe I saw one water trap thing. I don't know, mindless fun. Good for a subway ride. It's really easy because I can play it with one hand while I'm holding onto the subway pole on my commute. I'm up to level 1000 at this point, so I've been playing that game for a while. It still fills a niche. It's still enjoyable, quick little game. So check out Desert Golf also. What else have you been playing? Anything else on your?
I played a little bit of Shin Megami Tensei 5 on my 3DS for a little bit. I always like playing that occasionally. It's pretty old now though. Couple of years old. And I think that was about it really. I mean,
is five the latest one? It was 4. I don't keep track of all the Japanese RPGs.
I can't. I don't know. Maybe it was 4. Maybe I played 4, not 5.
Yeah, I thought 4 was the last one.
Yeah, maybe I played 4.
5 was the new one that's coming up.
Okay.
Oh, whatever. Yeah,
it was alright.
It's one of those JRPG games that came out of the 3DS.
It's pretty good. It's slow going, and it gets a bit tiresome with the difficulty level on that one because they are very, very hard. A
little grindy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
but I mean it's okay. It was fun for a little bit while I was in bed trying not to die, so it's good.
Yeah. JRPGs I think are good for that. The very laid back pace of it. They can be difficult, but it's pretty easy while you're laying in bed. I mean
that game is just Pokemon for adults, really.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, it's just.
Well, I love me some Pokemon.
You can just collect monsters and you can combine them and all sorts of things. It's okay.
Sounds pretty good. Let's move on to some news. So, we talked about some of this news last week in our never released episode, never to see the light of day episode. But let's go back to 2 weeks ago and talk about some Kickstarters. So, Koji Igarashi probably is up to some ridiculous number at this point, but as of last week, they've reached $2 million to create a spiritual successor to the Castlevania series. And then the band of former Rare employees surpassed $2.5 million with their character platformer Yooka-Laylee. So Kickstarter seems to be back. What do you think of the rise of these big names coming back with some classic Kickstarter titles?
It's just one of those things. It's synonymous with what's going on in AAA publishers, right? I mean, Konami doesn't want to do games anymore. They just don't want to. They don't want to do traditional games. They just want to do mobile games. So Castlevania and stuff like that. The passionate developers behind them are going to Kickstarter, and they're going to crowdfunded sources where they know they can. Because I mean, essentially, what he's creating is Castlevania, right? It's just without the name. And again, the Rare developers, they're just creating another Banjo-Kazooie just without the name.
That sounds great.
That's all that it is. It's just making the games that everyone loves and actually making them this time instead of waiting for a publisher who never wants to do anything risky or even, I say risky, anything that makes sense usually. Yeah. And it's synonymous with the AAA industry. I mean, you know, a lot of developers want to go independent simply because they're too constricted in what they actually get to make now. And, you know, especially when Sega says that Alien Isolation that shifted over 2 million units didn't sell well. What does that mean? Ridiculous. How could that... like, what do they want? You know, I mean, it's like they said Tomb Raider years ago didn't sell well, and that shifted millions of units as well. They're just not happy unless it's like World of Warcraft figures. They're just never happy. So even though Alien Isolation, which was one of the better games of that year, and it was incredibly authentic and it looked great and it was a great story, probably won't see the light of day again.
Yeah.
Because it only shifted 2 million units.
It's sad because a lot of these... I feel like there's a disconnect between the actual, you know, games people... I think this is obvious. I think a lot of people have been talking about this for a while, but between the business people and the game people.
Well, it is. There always is, though, because you got the people who create the games who know nothing about business, and then you got people who do the business but know nothing about games.
Yeah.
Because a lot of... And you'll find that if you actually look at where a lot of these CEOs and executives and stuff who actually work for big publishers like Sega, like Square Enix, all that, they've never worked in games. They all come from things like retail goods.
Yeah.
That's where they come from. Their background is, a lot of it is in products. Yeah. So they see 2 million units and they go, well, that didn't sell very well.
Exactly. And especially you tell these people, oh, we're making an Alien game. That's a huge franchise. Like, these people expect it to sell tens of millions of copies.
They don't understand a lot of them. So
you're making a sequel to Tomb Raider? That I know Tomb Raider. I don't know anything about games, but I've heard of Tomb Raider. They made a movie. Why isn't that selling billions of copies?
So again, it's a case of they're not educated in the games industry and they just look at figures, right? So. And again, but it's fine. I mean, people said that Kickstarter was dead. I don't think Kickstarter's dead. People are just more wary of what they actually back on Kickstarter now.
It's interesting because, you know, after the success of many of these Kickstarters that have been coming out the past, say 6 months, you know, Pillars of Eternity came out. We had the Broken Age finally is totally finished, and say what you will about that game. But it actually released. It's out now, so you can play the whole game all the way through.
Where did that money go?
But maybe people are seeing these games come out and say, hey, you know, we were down on Kickstarter with the, you know, like I said, the Tim Schafer stuff, the Peter Molyneux stuff, a lot of other shady Kickstarters have happened and come and go. Maybe we're at a point where Kickstarter's back and these...
Yeah. It's like any platform like that. You're always going to get the good and bad, right? So
yeah.
Doesn't mean it's dead or there's a bubble around it. It's just that's how it works.
And look, when was the last time we got a new character platformer game? So that's great to see that possibly coming out. A new Castlevania game that hasn't come out in forever. So it's
pretty good. I like it.
Potentially a really cool idea.
It's fun by me.
Some really cool projects. Hopefully they have been successful. Right now I'm looking at Yooka-Laylee is at $2.6 million and Bloodstained, the Koji Igarashi project, also at $2.6 million. So those are obviously going to be smash successes in the Kickstarter realm. And good for them. So let's move on to this Windows 10 announcement. Windows 10 has announced that when you get or upgrade a copy of Windows 10, you will have a preloaded copy of Candy Crush. Yes, everyone's favorite game on Facebook, Candy Crush, is now preloaded onto your Windows 10 machine. What do you think? What do you think?
I don't care.
Good, bad, ugly?
I don't care. Yeah, who cares? It's just it like anything. It's like your free unwanted antivirus software that you get with a new computer or something like that. It's just adware. Like, you just uninstall it, right? I don't see the big deal. Yeah, people have been going absolutely crazy about this, from what I've seen. I don't understand it. Like, games come preloaded on your computer all the time. You have Pinball, you have Minesweeper right now. Yeah,
you probably never play them unless you're stuck at work and you can't play anything else.
It's probably
So
just because
it's
it's
the problem.
Candy Crush, and Candy Crush is like, got bad rep, and King's got a bad rep. But I don't. It's just more adware. Like, who cares? Just uninstall it when you get.
Exactly. What it
I
doesn't
don't
make a difference.
I don't understand the moral outrage about it. Like,
Yeah,
there's no.
I put this on here thinking you'd be upset about it, but I guess we're in agreement here that this is not a big deal because it's not. If you're freaking out about it, go look
It's
look
not
at your
an issue.
taskbar right now and see how many stupid programs came with your computer
Right.
that you've never used once.
Exactly. Who cares?
Yeah. So let's move on to this announcement that Hellraid. This is what you put in the news.
I was dead upset about this. Right. So Hellraid, that was in development by Techland, it was like a first-person adventure game that was like it was like the fantasy version of Dying Light, I guess, maybe, or I suppose it's more like Skyrim, or maybe like the what was the first person magic game that came out not that long ago, just about mages?
Lichdom,
something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's kind of like that thing where it was about first person fighting, chopping skeletons in half. It looked really good. It actually looked quite fun. And then Dying Light came out, obviously, which was successful. It was a good game, but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't great. And then just I think today, Techland have canned it. Like they haven't canned it officially. What they've said is that development is being put on hold. And
it's never a good sign.
But yeah, development's being put on hold because they're not happy with the way that it's turning out at the moment, and that all the they'll be basically redevising the resources to focus on Dying Light expansions, which is rubbish because I hate Dying Light in terms of story, and it's zombies and it's boring as hell. So I'm really upset about that because it was something that I thought would be good. Like stuff like that's always fun to have. Like just for a change, instead of zombies, let's have like fantasy first-person fighting, right?
Yeah.
And it did actually look quite fun from like the trailers and stuff. And I know a couple of people who got to play it at like E3 and stuff, and they said it was like a blast.
Yeah.
So it's a bit rubbish, really.
Yeah, and say what you will about Techland, but they have released several new IPs that have been at least interesting. Maybe some of them haven't been the best.
Right. I mean, they're not.
But
I mean, their history isn't. They don't produce the best games all the time. But yeah. I mean, with Dying Light, I was like, oh well, maybe because of Dying Light's success, they'll push forward with Hellraid and do something else. But it annoys me that they've canned Hellraid and then and all the resources that they were on Hellraid are now going to go to Dying Light because I don't want Dying Light anymore. I'm done with that. Like zombies are boring. Do something else.
Yeah, I mean, from everything I've seen, if there's ever been like a 7 out of 10 game, I mean, that's right up the Dying Light's alley right there. It's like
I don't know.
Totally average game.
Bit rubbish, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's sad anytime a game gets canceled, next thing people are getting laid off, and that's never good for anyone. So let's hope this game comes back and this is just a temporary situation. The other story that you put on here was an interesting one that I was reading about. The Rockstar is suing the BBC with regards to an unofficial biography of the creators of Grand Theft Auto and the situation with Jack Thompson and Grand Theft Auto 3. This is a really weird situation. What's going on here?
Well, as far as I understand it, Rockstar, I mean, the BBC are in production of is it a movie, I guess?
Made-for-TV movie.
Made-for-TV movie. That's basically about the startup of Rockstar and the origins of Grand Theft Auto and, whatever controversy was surrounding the owner and the lawyer and stuff like that. Because I'm not sure what that controversy was. I haven't read up that much about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then so basically Rockstar got upset about it and they're basically, because they've had no involvement, they're basically suing under the pretense of they're trying to protect their intellectual property rights.
All right.
Which means we want to control what you're doing and what you're saying about us.
Right.
So that means...
And I don't understand how you guys work it over on that side of the pond, but over here, you can do movies that have people's names in it, like your name is public domain, but you can't do anything that's actually copyrighted, so we couldn't use like Grand Theft Auto. You couldn't use that name in the movie, but you could use the guy's name. So I don't know what the hell they were going to do. Were they going to just come up with like
I
a
don't
fake
know.
game?
I mean, as I say, I don't know what they were going to do, but I don't see the big deal. I think it's just a case of Rockstar wanting to silence all their bad things, because Rockstar aren't a good company. Like, a lot of people love Grand Theft Auto, which is fine. But I mean, if you look at their customer service record and stuff like that, like recently it just came out that basically because of all the problems in GTA and people were banning accounts and stuff, and people were ringing up, and then one guy actually recorded his calls to Rockstar, and they kept hanging up on him, and they finally got someone on Rockstar customer service to admit that they'd been told by higher ups just to hang up.
That's wonderful.
And that's the kind of company they are, though, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me they've got some dirt in their past.
They've had a very seedy reputation for a long time as one of like the broiest of game developers in a very very bro niche, but they got probably the worst rep of all of them.
Yeah, so I mean, suing the BBC is a bit. I just think it's pathetic myself.
I mean, the weirdest part about this is Daniel Radcliffe is playing the president, and Bill Paxton is playing Jack Thompson. What? Where did they get the money to fund these guys?
Well, it's BBC.
Yeah, again, I don't know. Those are just letters to me. Yeah, you gotta tell me about what they did.
Well, you've watched BBC America before, right?
Yeah, no, I've seen it on TV occasionally.
The BBC is like the biggest. It's the British broadcasting service, right? It's like the biggest thing in Britain, right? So I mean, I don't know. I think it's the whole lawsuit's stupid. I think that at the end of the day, you should just let the movie be made and come out, and then if they slander you like unfairly, then sue.
Right.
Don't bring. I hate this American mentality of just let's just go to court about it. Let's just fire a law. Get a lawsuit on the go. Like, why? You're the only culture that does that.
Yeah.
The only culture.
We're pretty good at that. We got lots of lawyers here, and
yeah, but you screw it up for yourselves, though.
Sometimes. Most of the time. All right, I'll be honest.
It's like Kinder Eggs, right? They got banned because someone sued that someone choked on one of the toys. I'm like, why are you putting the toy in your mouth then? You're doing that for?
I don't even know what those things are.
They're like chocolate eggs that are like, and then inside the very core of the chocolate egg is like a little wrapped up toy, like a kid's toy. And then someone complained, and they're not like chokeable; these are like huge things, right? And someone sued Kinder in America, because they choked on the toy and nearly died, right? So, and they won the lawsuit because, of course, they did. So Kinder just refuses to sell Kinder Eggs to America now. Get them anywhere else in the world. Can't.
That's wonderful.
So, congrats, USA.
All right.
Good job.
All right, let's just run through these last two news items here. We got Sony says they are working on high-quality Morpheus games for release. So, Morpheus apparently is going to be a full consumer release product. I know there was some speculation that it was just some kind of crazy R&D thing that Sony was coming up with, but I mean, they don't have the money to do crazy R&D things. If they're making something right now, they're selling it.
After seeing the specifications of Oculus Rift, which are damn high, by the way, I can actually imagine that like things like Morpheus will probably be more popular with the average consumer.
Well, that's really what I was going to talk about here, is that the Oculus Rift has some beefy specs, minimum required specs for that thing.
I mean, a rig to buy... if you're going to buy a rig for the sole purpose of Oculus Rift, that's going to cost you some fair change.
Easily $1,000, and that's on top of whatever the Oculus Rift is actually going to cost when it comes to market. So that's pretty crazy, but the Morpheus is only going to be able to run off the PlayStation hardware. So does that mean the Morpheus is going to be much less graphically?
I don't know. I think it'll be the same graphically. Well, it'll just be graphically what the PlayStation can run, right? That's what it'll be.
Right, but that's just not okay for the VR. When you have a screen that close to your face, there's a point where it's not the same as just looking at it on a TV. That's why the Oculus is such high specifications.
Well, I don't know. Is that the reason? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you put Skyrim on a PS4, it looks damn good, right?
Yeah, but when you get right up into the screen,
I think it'd be all right.
All right, well, we'll have to see how that works out. I'm interested to see at least. I mean, the VR revolution is coming, and hopefully it's not a day of reckoning.
Let's just assume then that it's decent, right? Let's say that the Morpheus is pretty damn good, right? Then by almost by default you've got Oculus Rift beat.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to spend like $1,500 to play Oculus Rift when they've already got a PlayStation 4.
You could say the same thing about PCs, though. Like, who's going to buy a $1,000 PC rig instead of a console?
Well, that's true, but the difference tends to be, though, is that it's PC gamers, right? We're not talking about. I'm talking about the average consumer overall, including consoles. If we're going to go into the market of PC gaming and whatever, then that's different because PC gamers are PC gamers, and they invest a lot of money over a long-term period to constantly build up their rigs and stuff like that. But if you're talking about the average consumer who probably doesn't have the highest end PC,
right?
And say, I mean, look at it that way. Let's say even like a low-end PC gamer, right, who's got like an i5 660 and 8 gigs of RAM, right? They're going to have to do some pretty heavy upgrading for an Oculus.
Yeah.
Right? So what would be actually cheaper? Upgrading your PC to a new core, new graphics card, probably more RAM, and then having to buy the Oculus or just buy a PlayStation 4, which, by the way, they'll probably do a bundle when Morpheus comes out. Yeah. I mean, it's about economics, isn't it?
Right. It's interesting also that, they're not directly competing with each other just right off the bat. The Morpheus will just be for the PlayStation. But what I'm really interested to see is the Vive thing, the Valve VR machine. I'm interested to see where that comes in terms of specs and price and quality.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting.
That's the real interesting thing, I think.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. And the last bit of news here is that an EA development house, or a development house of former EA employees, says that soon view-to-play will be a genre of games. So view-to-play is you have to watch some form of ads in order to play your games. If you're on the iOS platform or the Android platform, we all know that this is pretty part and parcel. You watch ads if you're going to play a free game. But this is something that would be totally new, I think, for the console and PC platforms. So what do you think? Would you play a view-to-play game?
No.
No? You don't think so?
No.
I think I would. I think that this is a good. I think this is a good thing.
I don't get it.
If we can.
So they're trying to change. Essentially, they're trying to change games into cable TV, right?
Well, sort of, I guess.
Like with commercial breaks that last like 15 minutes.
Is that really the worst thing though?
Yeah. That's why I don't watch cable.
Yeah.
That's why I've got Netflix.
I guess, but if look at like YouTube. YouTube is all based on ad revenue.
It is, yeah, but at the same time, YouTubers don't make like that much as people think because most of the viewers use ad blocker.
Right. Oh, that's a separate issue. But I'm saying like free entertainment that you have to watch ads for. Even the cable cutters, they do it. You watch a pre-roll ad when you watch anything on Hulu or several different pay to buy to watch platforms. And
I don't know. I don't think that will kick off at all.
No,
I can't imagine that kick. Like, apart from maybe mobile stuff.
It's already rife in the mobile platform. Yeah. That's already.
I can imagine that would just annoy people to death.
Yeah.
Like especially if you whack that on and you release a game on Steam that has like 15-minute commercial breaks every hour, 2 hours. It'd be hell.
Yeah, but what if every loading screen was just an ad? Whatever. Like who cares? Who does that harm?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, like say League of Legends took out all microtransactions and was just like if you load into a game or load out of a game, you got to watch an ad. What's wrong with that? That's fine.
I can't see that. I can't see it kicking off. Can't see it taking off.
Yeah. Or the other thing is, what if we go to a premium, non-premium, kind of like iOS does, where you can get the premium version of the game that has no ads, or you can get the free version that has ads.
I don't know. I don't want iOS business models coming over to mainstream.
Well, that's one of the weird things that happened when Valve came out and did the whole paid for mods thing. Is mod creators were releasing free mods with ads in it for the paid version of the mod.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny. But yeah, I think it's a good business model. The more business models we look at and explore, I think the better games will be.
Maybe.
I'm
not convinced.
On that note, let's move on to this week's Game of the Week, which my computer just decided to freeze, but I think it's back, so we're okay. Alright, Game of the Week this week is Invisible Ink, developed and published by Clay Entertainment, who did Mark of the Ninja, Don't Starve, Shank, so they're a pretty prolific indie PC developer. They released this game as, it's like a roguelike-y isometric stealth game. We'll kind of discuss exactly what we think the game is. The website is in the show notes, as well as where you can purchase the game on Steam and GOG. What did you think of this game?
I really enjoyed it, mate. I thought it was really good. I mean, essentially, it's a turn-based strategy game. It's about stealth, right? So it's kind of like the layout is kind of very similar to XCOM. It does remind me of that a lot, but it's about not getting caught, and if you've got to take people down and having to like ambush them around corners and line of sight and stuff like that. It's all about that kind of thing. And the actual campaign, it's about, you've got like a world map similar to XCOM, and you've got a number of days. The days count down to like the big event, and you've got to like do missions and stuff to build up your resources for the main event. So it's very XCOM-like in its game design. I really enjoyed it. I thought the art style was great. It's got like almost like a cartoon / anime style of doing things, and it's really, really good looking. Graphically, it was really good. My major issue with it, I don't think it explained some of the mechanics particularly well on the start of the game, especially the computer programs. Because a lot of the game is you have to hack into certain systems in each level to unlock power, and then you can use that power to hack other stuff and do all these different kinds of abilities. And sometimes there's like a virus in there, but the game didn't do a particularly good job of explaining how to go about identifying the viruses and getting rid of them and stuff like that. I didn't do that well at all. And my other major problem was it was ridiculously short. Like ridiculously short. The main campaign took me, on easy, it took me like 2 hours. On medium difficulty, it probably took 3 or 4 hours. And that's with breaks. And then they do
like
have
6 missions total.
Yeah, and then they've got like
72 hours.
But I do like each mission that you do is randomly generated. So, and you also have like a rewind mechanic. So if you make a mistake, you can rewind time a little bit, but you only get like a limited number of uses of those per level. And then if you die in a level, the level restarts and it's randomly generated again, so you can't memorize where everything was. So it was good, but it was ridiculously short. And they do have like a mode for just an unlimited,
an endless mode.
But again, I would have rather like had a long story, because the narrative actually was really good. What little of it there was, and the voice acting was very good as well. And I actually got into the story. And then it's like as soon as you get into the story, the game ends, and it's like, what? There was so much more you could have done with that. And I feel like it's almost like the developers it was a tester game.
Yeah.
To see if it would go down well. Yep. Which is ridiculous, because it was very, very good. And I thought that they could have done so much more. Like, make that a full game. Like, that was good.
Mechanically, it's there. I mean, it randomly generates different levels for you to try out. There's all sorts of different mission types for you to play, but the story just isn't there. It needs to be fleshed out for sure into a full-fledged game, and then I think it wouldn't have been great. I think it's interesting you talked about the game not explaining things. I know we've talked about this in previous episodes, and I think indie developers really need to take a course on how to do tutorials right. I think that a lot of the times they say, oh no, the player will learn by doing. That's fun, right? Especially in roguelike games. Games.
You could have done that with some of the mechanics, but like some of the stuff it just wasn't explained well, and it just became it hampered you later on when the difficulty curved up.
Right.
because you're like, oh, I'll just ignore that because it doesn't seem important, right? And then it actually was important.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think that makes it worse in roguelikes is roguelikes, I think, by design, you want some mystery, the player to learn certain things as you're doing it. Learn what certain items do, what items work together well with other items, what certain skills do. But the core mechanics of your game should be pretty well explained, I think, in the tutorial or wherever you're explaining how the game works.
But it was a good game. I really liked it. I don't
want to seem like I'm
it was
really
too
coming
short
down on the game. It was too short.
It was too short.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time playing it. I think it's very tactical. It's one shot, one kill. So if you screw up
if you actually kill, the one mechanic I did like was that, like, basically because it's in like sci-fi futuristic dystopian Earth, all the security guards have heart monitors. So if you kill a guard, the heart monitor will raise the alarm level. And then the higher the alarm level of a level, the more guards will come in, and the higher the difficulty will become, till almost it's basically impossible to survive.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just stun a guard, they only get stunned for like 3 turns, the no alarm level increases. So that's what the one mechanic that I did like.
Yeah, I really like that there were all sorts of different kinds of guards as well. They're like mechanical guards that like sweep areas. They have like sound grenades that will reveal your area in a room if they throw one. So there's a lot of different tactics that they use against you, and there are all sorts of tactics that you need to use against different types of guards.
It's like you said, it's mechanically it's all there, and it's actually very good mechanically. The tutorial was a big issue, and it does need seeing to. And I just think it was far too short, just far too short. Like the story was so good, and the setup was very, very, very good, and I just felt it let itself down by almost like they'd done it right, like a proof of concept to themselves. Like, let's make this really tight mechanical game.
I think that's another shortcoming of the roguelike-iness of Invisible Ink is that they think that the player's just going to play it over and over and over again and use different tactics and different characters, and the story was kind of an afterthought. And I think that they really missed out because they could have put together a really cool story with this kind of setup.
Because they should have done, because I mean, that kind of game works, like XCOM, right? XCOM was really popular, and it had a really good long main story campaign.
Yep.
Particularly, and they even extended that a bit by having, before you did the final mission, you had to get one of your characters to a certain psychic level, and that took a lot of work. So you had to do a lot of missions for that, and build and be careful about making that guy live. So there's a lot of longevity in that type of game if you make it, and I just feel like you got going in that game, and then it ended. And I was like, wow. I was ready for another 8-10 hours of this.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's one of those games I would recommend it. Even so, I would still recommend it. If not just to show people that it was actually really good. What was there was actually really good, and message the developer and say, are you going to make like a proper one or what?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing about something like this is that this gives them. And all indie developers, really, they can put together this cool proof of concept that's fun enough to play for $19.99, which it is right now. Or if you can get it for sale on a Steam sale, I'm sure it'll go up on every Steam sale ever.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If you're not willing to pay $20 for it, which I think the $20 is a bit steep.
Yeah, I understand why you wouldn't want to. I think it's, for some people that are really into this genre, I think that $20 is right up their alley. They'll be like, I don't get one of these every day, so give it to me now.
I mean, with the endless mode, you do have a lot of gameplay there, but myself, I would prefer the gameplay with the story, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want the story part of it only, which is ultimately what I would want it for, I would want to play the story and then be done with it, right? I would say pick it up in a Steam sale. Definitely pick it up.
If you get a 50 or 75% discount on this game, if you're even partially interested in this game, check it out. It's really a neat game.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing that overall that just I feel about that game ultimately is just disappointment, just for the fact that it didn't go on more. There wasn't more in it, because everything that was in it, I basically really enjoyed. And
I mean we didn't even talk about how it looks. It's a really neat looking game. It's a neat sounding game.
It's very stylized.
Sound design is great.
This looks and sounds great. Like, aesthetically, it hits all the right marks.
This game looks as polished as you could make a game. It's just
it's almost ironic to itself, because it's like you have hit every single mark that, especially as a critic, I'm looking for, right?
Yeah.
You're aesthetically pleasing, so you've got great visuals, you've got great sound, right? The cutscenes that are in there are great, and the voice acting is great. The mechanics are solid. The game is stable. There's not that many. I didn't experience any bugs.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
And the randomly generated gameplay is fantastic, right?
Yep.
It ticked every box in there for me. And then there's just no long-term campaign. It's just like a 3-hour campaign. I'm like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You've created this great game, but it's like you've created the great game, put a couple of levels in, and you were like, oh, can't finish it.
Hey, but you know what? At the end of the day, if this is what indie developers are going to put out, obviously I don't want every indie developer to make this game or a short, underwhelming game like this, but I will take this to most AAA BS, let's just check a couple design boxes. It's totally unoffensive, and you know what? It looks okay, and there's probably some bugs, like whatever. The next Call of Duty game, that's going to be whatever. That's boring.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game.
I will take this over that. Anytime.
Absolutely. I mean, any fan of XCOM will like this. Anyone who likes XCOM or turn-based games will absolutely love this. Yeah. Like I say, the biggest thing, the issue is that it was just too short. Like, that's the biggest disappointment, because very rare does a game want to make me play more, and this did, and then it wasn't there. So I actually find a game I want to play more of, and I can't.
Yeah, if the worst thing you say is that I wanted more, I think that's a sign that it was a pretty damn good game.
Yeah.
So with that, I think it's time to wrap up this episode here. So go check out Invisible Ink. Like I said, you can go look in the show notes for where you can purchase it on Steam and GOG. Last week, we had a contest to give away a copy of Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. I asked you if you like Nazi zombies, or if you do not like Nazi zombies. It seemed like people were pretty enthused by Nazis, so you guys are bastards.
You mean Nazi zombies, right?
Oh, sorry, I mean Nazi zombies. I meant Nazi.
People are pretty enthused with Nazis. You heard it here first. Send your angry emails to Gaddock, not me.
Yeah, yes. So Dave at Rogan with 3 N's, you are the winner of Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. So go ahead and DM me on Twitter, and you will have a chance to win a copy. Or you won't have a chance. You will get a copy of the game. So go ahead and DM me on Twitter. Make sure you are following 20 or Less Podcasts, or else you can't DM me. Maybe you can. I don't know. Twitter's weird. Next week, again, if you would like to win a copy of Invisible Ink, we will be having a giveaway for that. This time you'll be posting on our Steam page under the episode 14 discussion topics, so look out for that. I'll post a link to that on Twitter, on Twitter when that goes live. So if you'd like to win a copy of Invisible Ink, and why would you not, after hearing us talk about it, you should check out our Steam group. And you should be a member of our Steam group anyway. Why not? You can get a full list of our curator links to all the awesome games we cover on this show. So where can people reach you, Cosmic, if they wanna talk to you?
You can go to my YouTube, which is youtube.com/thecosmicengine. I will be having The Witcher 3 review out next week at some point, hopefully early this week.
So you're gonna put in a full 200 hours before you release that, or is 100 gonna be enough for you? Yeah, you're gonna put the full 2?
But I'm gonna try and complete it.
All right.
Whether I do or not is a different story. I'd like to, because I
don't envy you at all.
When I review games, I tend to like to get at least 75% of the way through, unless it's like an RPG, and then I'll try to get like 100% of the way through. I probably won't complete all the side quests and stuff, but I will try and complete like the main chunk of content, like most of the side quests and all the main quests. And I'll have some early access examination up on Blitzkrieg 3 at the end of the week, which you'd like, because it's like Clash of Clans.
Ooh, all right.
I hate every...
I'm still clashing. I'm like level 30, whatever.
I was like dead excited. I was like, Blitzkrieg's coming back. That's awesome. And then you go to multiplayer and it's Clash of Clans, and I'm like, what?
It's like Dungeon Keeper's coming back. That's awesome. Wait.
I was like, what the hell is this? Awesome. But so yeah, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can at CosmicEngine99, and just send me a message over something. I don't care. I'll get it.
All right. If you'd like to talk to the show, both of us, you can reach us at 20 or Less Podcast, where we post whenever we go live, anything about the show that's going on. If you'd like to email us, you can email us a topic you'd like to see us discuss or anything else you'd like to talk about to 20 or Less Podcast at gmail.com. And like I said, follow our Steam group. Just do it. If you'd like to reach me, you can get me at GTeeg. That's at GTEEG on Twitter. You can also email me, gaddockteeg@gaddockgaming.com. Thank you guys for listening. It's been an enjoyable episode. Got anything else, Cosmic?
No, send some suggestions in for games we should look at.
Yeah, definitely. We're once in a while we like to get some guidance here. Steam has a pretty long list of new games, and most of them are crap. So any help would be appreciated. And with that, thank you guys for watching, and we shall see you next week.